Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our March 2026 Godcast. I am Julie Wentz, and I am here with my amazing co-host, Dr. Monzo. Alfonso, how are you tonight?
Good. Hello, everyone.
Good. Hello, everybody. Um, let's see. Well, we have a lot to go over tonight about Freedom Healthcare. So this is going to be fun. Usually I'm not on this side of the table. So this ought to be fun so people can catch up on all the updates and everything we're doing. But
Mhm.
would you like to start us off with prayer?
Yes, we're starting with prayer, and then I get to ask the questions tonight. All right, here we go. All right, Heavenly Father, we just come into your presence and in the name of Yeshua and just ask that you would cover this podcast, the Godcast, and that you would be with both of us and everyone here, that you'd give us the words to speak. And we just ask for open ears and open minds, open hearts to hear the message that you have to bring forth and what Freedom Healthcare is all about and what you are doing and moving upon the earth. We just ask that you would cover all of the technology and all the equipment here in your blood so that no interference or interruptions may occur. And we pray this in Yeshua's name. All right. So I guess the
Amen.
first question is, can you tell us the story of how Freedom Healthcare came to be?
I I always like starting with this because you need to know the backstory. Like if you don't know where something started, you need to really know the backstory, like your background and what you've done and your education. Like we all come from somewhere. And I think it's important that people know the backstory of how Freedom Healthcare actually came into being. So we'll spend a few minutes on that. But it was
Mhm.
2020 when I woke up. When I didn't, I had a nice little tiny life with just my dog and I. And I remember watching the news came on, news special. And I remember seeing the word pandemic splashed across the screen, like just giant. And I thought, why are they trying to scare people? Like my immediate, everything about me was like, why are they trying to scare people? So that was my first encounter with what was coming. And there was quite a few visions and words that God gave me. He speaks to me in the morning. He had me see a lot of things. Everything was preparing me for where we were going. So right in that beginning, that was February 2020. And I was supposed to start two really good jobs. I was choosing between two really lucrative, good jobs, and they disappeared when everything shut down. So I thought, okay, well, now what am I going to do? So I got involved because I knew what was going on, and a lot of people in Arizona did because I was living there at the time, that we were being deceived. So we had gotten together, ended up getting together with one freedom fighting group, and that wasn't working out with what they were doing. So, a friend and I started Arizona Stands Up. And we were like the other stand up groups across the country. There was Ohio Stands Up, there was New Mexico Stands Up, there was Tennessee Stands, there was New York Stands. There was groups out there that were fighting for people's freedom during this time. So, me knowing nothing about the legal system, government, politics, medical, like I didn't know anything. I didn't like history. I didn't like any of that kind of stuff. I had a nice little tiny life with my dog. I was happy. So I started learning all of these things. And when we started going after the governor at the time was Governor Ducey in Arizona, and we knew there wasn't a state of emergency. Like all of this, we were finding out all the information that it wasn't real. So we started going after that. We had to find an attorney that was willing to actually stand up to help us fight.
Mhm.
Well, there weren't any. And then I learned all about the legal system, and we had one attorney that was willing to help us. And right when we got to the point of raising the retainer, the money, we had people all across Arizona doing stuff. I reached out to them and had a couple of questions. And the lead attorney said, well, sorry, Governor Ducey asked us to represent him on something, so we can't help you. And I had a few choice words. And after that, I thought, okay, God was protecting us because there wasn't a single constitutional freedom fighting attorney in Arizona. So that was learning about that system. So we started shifting gears. We created the Freedom Papers. We had a grassroots newspaper that was based on the founding fathers. We had town halls where people could come and learn about real health, what was going on, not wearing masks, all the stuff that was happening. And then, so we're kind of shifting out. And then they started mandating the shots to all of the medical systems, the police, the fire department, everybody. And God would tell me things all the way along. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know what they're doing. They're going after the front line. So we shifted and started helping the medical professionals at Banner, Honor, and Dignity hold their ground and not have to take the shot, but keep their job. So me, who has no legal background whatsoever, I had learned about PMAs. I had learned about informed consent. I'd learned about affidavits. And then a friend of mine who was down in New Mexico was having success with cease and desist, going after helping the federal employees. So I called her and we'd met, along the way. And I said, hey, will you just send me a blank one? I don't know what I'm doing, but we're just trying to help people. We're trying to help people. So she sent me a blank one. And we had created informed consent for the employees to sign and notarize, send in to the CEOs and the HR of each system. We created affidavits. And I sat holed up for 6 weeks in my house, creating custom cease and desist for each of the employees for each system. Through everything in it, constitutional law, state law, Clean Hands Act, everything I could find as I searched it, I threw it in there. And I even put in there, and they had 5 days to respond. None of them did. I put in there that the CEO and the HR would be personally responsible for $5 million for themselves for any employee that they fired for not taking the shot. And I also had all the employees in the system sneaking me out information on what they were being told. They were handling the questions for the employees, so I knew how to go after it. And we had 99.9% of every employee held their job with their religious exemption, our paperwork. And I knew that it wouldn't do anything then other than hold their job, but I knew they could use it down the road because I knew the truth was going to come out. So during this time, my friend and I are sitting there having a conversation, and she goes, we need to start a new healthcare system. And I'm like, yeah, right. There's no way. I don't have a medical background. The existing, beast system has been around since the late, 1800s. It's impossible. And she just goes, how do you know that God doesn't have you right here, right now for something like this? So she literally threw Esther at me. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to pray about it. So I prayed about it for a couple of weeks. And I thought, Lord, okay, I don't have a medical background. I have no clue about any of this, but you gave me a business mind. I can think outside the box. I can see things, the end result, work our way back. You've given me these other gifts. I said, I'll just be your hands and feet, but you have to bring the people. I can't do this. I can't do it. You have to bring the people. So I made that deal with him. And we would get together because I didn't know anything about the medical system. So we were having round tables in Arizona where we had doctors and ER doctors and cardiologists sitting around. I would ask them questions because my brain is a business brain and I think of products and services. So we're sitting there and I asked the ER doctor, she'd been in one of the big systems for 25 years, and asked her, I said, if somebody comes in the ER, how much do you make? They come in for a procedure, whatever. What do you make? And she said, well, maybe 20, 30%, and then we have to pay our billing. I'm like, where'd the other 70% go? And she said, well, it goes to the hospital and the insurance company. And then I looked at the cardiologist. I said, if you had a procedure that was maybe $1,100, how much would you make? How much would you make? And he goes, oh, maybe $190. And when I started hearing these numbers, I got so excited because I thought we are going to be able to make healthcare so affordable because we're taking the beast, the middleman, out of the system. There's no longer this giant pyramid. It's practitioner to practitioner. We're taking the system out. So I got really excited. And I wondered why God would even choose me to do this. And I remember one of the doctors said, Julie, we've been in the system for so long, we can't see out. We can't see anything different. We don't know anything different. We've all been, slaves to this system and trained this way. And she goes, you can see something better. You can see a way out for us. And it was like, okay, Lord, start bringing the people. And that's what he's done over the last 4 years is I thought it was just going to be, Freedom Healthcare direct practitioner clinics. That's all I thought it was. And then he started showing me all the things that he was going to add and what became 4 phases. So one phase being a telehealth phase, then a direct practitioner clinic with an urgent care fusion, micro hospitals, and education centers. And they're not necessarily in that order. Like, our education now is growing. We now have 6 different sets of education as part of Freedom Healthcare that providers can either leave the system if they're allopaths, learn something new, or even expand current practitioners or providers' knowledge base to be helping people with new information. So it started down that path of like, okay, Lord, as you bring these people, I'm just the hands and feet, but I know where they fit. You're giving me people and I know where they fit in this puzzle that he's putting together. And I remember one time he showed me this huge puzzle and I could see his thumb putting pieces into the puzzle. And it was like a blueprint, but it was actually red and it became almost like a blood print. He was putting the people where he wants in this new paradigm that we're creating. So as he sends me somebody, I'm like, okay, I know where they fit. Like I know what they're going to do. I get what you're doing. So I see what he's doing as he moves us forward. But that's kind of the backstory of how there's no reason why I should be doing this, but I'm very faithful to what he's called me to do.
That's interesting. Now I have another question I'm thinking of is so how did you find out about me and get me involved? Well, I can tell another story. So,
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, because I don't remember. I mean, there's been so many names that have come at me and people that I've met over the last 4 years. Some of them are just like I know I've met this person or this person's come, along. I don't
well,
remember. I probably should have kept track of everything, but I'm not good at journaling.
yeah, see, before 2020, I was a pretty small name. I just did my thing. I saw people locally. I saw a lot of people from around the world. It was all word of mouth. When 2020 happened, uh, so for about a year before that, I was already really researching what are we going to do about these weaponized pathogens and nanotechnology? Because when I first started deep diving into it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is way worse than I ever knew. I knew there was a gain of function, but I didn't really know what they were doing. So then when I really realized what they were doing, I was like, okay, we have to have a method to get rid of this stuff. Then COVID. And so I was one of the few that refused to shut down. I wouldn't close. We kept seeing people. We had people coming in to see us who didn't know anything about natural health. And then here I am as the energy guy, and they're like, energy medicine. They were only coming in to see me because the doctors weren't even open. The other unique thing is I was one of the first people to expose uh, in Ohio at the time, I had a license as a massage therapist. So I got a newsletter, and this was at the very beginning of the lockdowns from Ohio Medical Board saying, when people die on the certificate of death, you put COVID,
Yeah.
even if it's not confirmed. And I was like, wait a minute. So medical doctors, if they have to do a death certificate, are supposed to put COVID, even if it's not confirmed they have COVID. I'm like, you want them to lie? So I started sharing this with people, and people were, oh, that can't be true. And I was showing them the letter. They were like, what? Well, they were like, well, why would they do that? I'm like, only if you want to lie about the numbers. So that kind of got me into the limelight. And then people started asking me about what about this weaponized, technology and weaponized pathogens. And the next thing you know, I was being invited to all these big conferences. And so that's where I kind of came. My business grew exponentially during 2020 because I also got involved with a local group here in Ohio called the Ohio Freedom Fighters. And we would meet at someone's house. They had a huge house and landscaping business, and we would meet in a big garage, barn-like garage thing. And I mean, we would have 3, 4, 500 people sometimes. We had people coming from Pennsylvania sometimes. And, we had people like Dr. Tenpenny, because she's here, and other speakers come in and speak. They were bringing in speakers from all over, talking about all the different topics. They met once a week, and that was starting that grassroots movement. So that's how my name started getting out there. I started getting into these conferences and speaking about stuff, and then people started sending me samples of things. Once they had samples, then I started testing things to find out what was really going on. And so that's my story of how people started hearing about my name during 2020.
Well, and it's interesting you said that too, because I never wanted to believe, like all of 2020, I still say it now because I keep getting more stuff, is I want to be wrong about what I'm finding out. I want to be wrong. And I told people I'm getting this information. Like the first rabbit hole I got sent down that told me where the virus was coming from was a crazy one, how it happened. I'm like, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. And I just kept having to give out the information. I want to be wrong. And that was knowing the doctors and the people and the nurses inside of the three big hospital systems.
Mm.
And then we had nurses from Dignity reach out from California, and they're like, we hear what you're doing. Will you help us? I'm like, absolutely. Everything's up on the website. Like, just go get it. Just put your name in, go get it. But I knew inside the hospitals what they were doing to people and what was happening to people when they went in there. And I'm like, this can't be true. Like, they can't be killing people. This can't be true. But the people on the inside were getting the information out. And it just continued over the last few years to just be way too incredible for words that it's true, although it is. And that's why God has us on this journey of, okay, there has to be an alternative. There has to be a way for us to heal people outside of what's happening and continues to happen.
What's I'm blanking on last name. Do you know Angie? Oh, what's their last name? I think that's how we got connected. I can't think of their last name. She does a lot
Oh,
of medical stuff, natural health, but she also teaches professionals.
was she in Scottsdale?
She travels all over the place.
That might I think I remember that. She
She's like a
introduced
health
me.
advocate, but she also does a lot of natural health, her and her husband, and they train professionals, basically how to run uh, health clinics.
I wonder if that was her.
Is it Aids? Angie Aids?
I don't remember.
I think that might have been how we first heard about me.
I
Either
just
that or if it was one of the big conferences like the Red Pill or Reawaken Tour. It was one of those things. But
Yeah, it could have been the Reawaken Tour. I went to a couple of those, and but I stayed out of the limelight because that's not where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be behind building the foundation. Like I never had any desire to be out in front of me. And we had some big town halls in Arizona, and we brought in the Pastor Art Pulowski from Canada when he was getting completely destroyed up there. That was awesome listening to his testimony. But I wasn't ever supposed to be out front, and I'm not supposed to. I'm just supposed to be the builder behind the scenes. So that could have been it. But I think it's important for people to know like what our mission is and what the vision is. Like our mission itself is to provide proactive, sound, nature-focused healthcare to individuals, providing value and making a difference in individuals' lives through spirit, mind, and body. Because everything hinges on those things. And then the vision is to help empower people to find their own true health, incorporating spirit, mind, body, and grounded in God's nature. And I think that's the biggest thing, learning. And I was on like a learning curve like you wouldn't believe. I mean, how stuff I was learning has come fast and furious. And I remember talking with one girl who'd been in the medical system her whole life that was in Tennessee, and we sat down to chat, and she was asking me questions and I was answering her, and she's just like, God has his hand on you. She goes, if you've never been in the medical system and you know all this stuff, like he is just downloaded to you. And I said, it's been a lot. It's been a lot, and it continues to go. But we need, what people don't realize what's missing, because we've been slaves to I like to call it the beast system all this time, is everything is upside down. So even when I was looking for the words that were going to go on the website, so I'm like, okay, body, mind, spirit, okay, nature-based healthcare, and God goes, that's backwards. I'm like, what do you mean that's backwards? Mm-hmm. And I went, oh my gosh, it's spirit, mind, body. So everything that's happened has been counterfeit. The pharmakeia system, the pharmaceutical system, pharmakeia means sorcery. The system has been turned upside down. So everyone's focusing on the body as opposed to the spiritual aspects. So our entire medical system, nothing focuses on the spiritual. Mm-hmm. And people don't realize you can actually ask your creator for healing and receive it. Oh, yeah. The pieces that are missing where people find true healing is the spiritual aspect. So it's like, okay, we're literally, when it first started, I was calling it, like a parallel healthcare system. And that changed quickly because I realized we are not parallel. We are not running parallel. God is giving us the blueprint for the new paradigm of true health care. And I say that in 2 words, health care, because we're going back to his nature, big N, who he is, and his nature, little n, which is creation, which is the earth where we get the ability for all of the things we need for our body. So we're creating the new paradigm, which is actually the original paradigm of health, which is his paradigm of health. So we're not like anything that's out there because we focus on the spiritual aspect for healing, which is where everything starts. People can be doing all the stuff that they want with their body, but it's not going to touch the spiritual aspect. And there's so much more that people don't even realize, including what's affected us generationally through our families. And that's a biggie, because when you have generational diseases, or I'll use the word curse, if there's a generational curse that's in the family, that affects people physically. And there's more to just fixing a body part, because there is the root cause, and a lot of the root cause is going to come from a spiritual aspect.
Yeah. And, we're going to have a newsletter for April, but this is, we see the enemy is on the move still. So one of the big things coming up here in Ohio now is House Bill 385. This was just introduced. And what that's going to do is make naturopathic medicine, licensed in the state of Ohio. Now, the language is very broad. So, unfortunately, if the bill gets passed in Ohio, it could limit a lot of healthcare professionals in Ohio around herbology, diet, nutrition, because they're just kind of lumping it. They're being very broad on the language. And so that's one of the things we really have to think about. And that's why we need the new paradigm, because we have naturopaths in Ohio who think this is a great idea. And it's like, well, it's not a great idea because the only people who qualify that is if you go to one of these three special schools. And they're like, oh, well, that's because we've been trained well. If you're really a naturopath, what do you need to be licensed to do? What are you doing that's so dangerous that you need a license? It's like, have people not learned yet? If you're licensed by the government, they tell you what to do.
Tell you what
If
to
a
do.
pandemic happened again and you're licensed, guess what? They're going to tell you what you can do and how you can do it. And if they don't want you doing anything but drugs, you're not doing anything but drugs.
Well, and there
You don't want
was,
licensed.
and I
You
was
want
blown away
freedom.
when I started reaching out to some of the schools to talk to them about, coming alongside. There's the one naturopath school, I think it was in Arizona. It was the Southwest something. I
Yeah,
think
they
it's in
changed their
Arizona.
name now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't the California one, but it was the one in Arizona.
One
And
in
when I
Arizona.
reached out to the dean of students and I flat out asked about the vaccine, and they made the naturopathic students take the vaccine
Yes.
to be at that school. I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously? I'm like, okay, we're
That's
done.
your
We're,
modern
we're
naturopath.
yeah, we're just done talking now.
Naturopathic
Like,
physician. It's like you're just a medical doctor with fancy label.
I'm like, this is so messed up. And more the time went on, I'm just like, this is so messed up. So realizing we are creating everything new,
Yes.
everything will be new.
And we're in a perfect position with what's happening because is it the N A N I N H N
NHI?
no NANH Alliance for Natural Health. They had an interesting document that came out maybe a month ago looking at the big beautiful bill because in there is literature or terminology about these student loan programs now qualify for student loans to go to school. And one of it's for professionals. So professionals, that's like masters and doctorates. Now, one of the
Yes.
interesting things they pointed out is naturopath is not listed as a professional anymore to get
Yes.
student loans. So if you want to
Yes.
go to one of these big schools, that's going to cost you, $500,000 to $600,000, and you can't get loans, is that the end of licensed naturopaths? And it
There,
looks like they have plans to try to get it licensed in every state, not just Ohio.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if they get it licensed in all the states and then no one can go to school to get licensed, you just eliminated a whole field.
They're picking away at it. They're picking away
So
at it. And
we
that's
need the
why
new paradigm. It's like
this is why
we
we have
have
the
to
new
get out of that
paradigm.
system.
And that was one of the questions because since I didn't know anything and I'm trying to learn, when I was sitting with those doctors in Arizona, I said, how do you guys get to quote practice? Like, what does it look like? Okay, you go to school, um, you become an intern or whatever it is, and then you take the test, and then you have to pay the state for a piece of paper that's your license, right? This is the little process you guys go through to become, right, like a doctor. And they're like, yeah. And I said, okay, but you've already gone to school and you've already learned everything. Why are you paying the state to say, okay, you can practice, you can have a clinic? Why? Well, that's the way it is. So when they told me that, I said, all right, this piece of paper that the state is giving you means nothing to me. This is where we're going. This means nothing to me. It's a piece of paper that the government says you can use all that knowledge that you've acquired, and you're going to have to pay for that piece of paper, and we're going to use that piece of paper to let you work.
Privilege.
I'm like, we're done. We're not playing these games anymore. We're done with this. So I know what's going to come down the road. We got a ways to go because God's literally creating an entirely new paradigm. we can't jump there because people can't, they wouldn't be able to handle what's coming. So it's step by step. We're creating bridges. What we're doing is creating bridges as we move the direction of people being free people. Your God, right, as a child of God, to help others, to take care of people. And there has to be these steps that we have to take. He's shown me where we're going. I know where we're going. And it's amazing.
Right. This isn't any different than like, people can think of it like the Patriot Bill. It's the idea of trading your freedoms for privileges in the name of freedom and safety. Oh, if you're licensed, you're going to have safe practitioners. No, they're just going to have what the government gives you.
And who decides who gets a license anyway? The government.
The government.
Okay.
The last time I checked, they were telling you all kinds of things are safe that aren't safe. So it's like,
take the vaccine. Exactly.
Why give up your God-given freedoms for a privilege?
Yeah.
Because now you don't have a freedom anymore.
No. And the more
they give it to you.
The more I learned, the more I was learning and more information that came, I'm like, okay, this is messed up in so many ways. So messed up. And that's why all of these things are getting put in place as we grow. And there's times I get frustrated that we're not growing faster. And then I have to stop and it's like, okay, Lord. And as soon as I get frustrated, like he'll send me somebody, because that was a deal I made. Somebody new will come in front of me. 2 new people will come during the day. Somebody has a place somewhere with what's happening. But it's like the beast system has been around since the late 1800s with the Rockefeller and Rothschild, and then the Flexner Report in 1910. So we got 120 years under a belt of control by the pharmaceutical companies and the schools. It's going to take us a few days to pull out of that.
Yeah, so that brings us to another question. Who can join Freedom Healthcare? And what types of people can join? Are there different types of memberships?
Actually, anyone can join. Anyone can become a member. And everybody comes in as an individual. But then there's also special things that we do for our providers and practitioners that come in as well. But anybody can become a member. And we are a tax-exempt entity. We're a private ministerial association. So our membership is a donation, and it's a tiny donation. It's $43 a month, which is a couple of coffees for people. But what they get access to as this has been built, and then more that's coming, there's so much, but anybody can become a member. You can have an individual member, and you can actually become one person can sign up from your family. You have access for your family, but one person. So it's individual. And then do you want to know like what they would get if they remember?
Yes. What do you offer to your members?
There is so much, and it's been fun to watch it come together and grow. And there's so much more coming. I started making a list going, oh my gosh, I can't believe we have all this now. So there's a vast library of health tips, healthcare news, information on COVID, vaccines, protocol. There's a couple thousand documents in the library. We have supportive clinics and affiliate providers across the country. And what puts them into the supportive clinic or the affiliate provider position is how they are formed. Because we are a 508c1a tax-exempt entity, if those providers come in as a 508, they are listed under the supportive clinics. Anyone else, if they're a sole proprietor or an LLC, they're listed as an affiliate provider. Mm-hmm. So people can find them on our website, just like you. Most of the providers have also provided discounts and specials for our members. So when you become a member, listed under the member only portal, I see you came back. Under the portal, there's discounts on virtually everything. So everybody's brought something to the table for the members, because this becomes a symbiotic relationship. We're here to help the providers provide things for their patients and clients that they wouldn't normally have. And we're making it even more affordable for their members. So it's a symbiotic relationship. How do we help you grow your business as well? So we also have member spotlights and videos on all these practitioners. We have a Rumble and YouTube channel that people can watch all these. They can watch them on the website. We're always inviting new practitioners into the family, those that are focused on healing and not harming, and they're not focused on pharmaceuticals right off the bat. When I realized that we needed a bridge, like I know where we're going, but for people who have been in the system for so long that we needed something that was a bridge to help them take the first step out that was more affordable, and then show them, okay, now here's the next step. So we have a relationship with Health Bridge and Kinetic Health. And it's a health offering for folks that if they want, there's a $99 plan and a $25 plan, and they can have access to 24/7 virtual primary care, advocacy service. There's e-home counseling. There's Quest Diagnostics. There's, if somebody needed meds, there's Magic Pill. There's 1,000 or 2,000 medications are delivered to your home. They're all included. So if you had one medication or 100, they're all included. They're all included. There's no limit on it. There's Drexy and National Pharmacy. So if you needed something sooner and you wanted a discount, you could get it. There's Doc Wellbe for vision and dental savings. The thing that people are most worried about, and the reason they've trained us to have insurance, is I call it the what if. What if there's a heart attack? Yeah. What if there's a car wreck? What if? So people are trained to have that insurance for that, when only 3 to 5% of all people ever use the big money insurance. So, and 80% of the people don't even use their insurance on a monthly basis. They're not using it. So like when I asked that doctor, where's that money gone? Well, it's going to the insurance company. Mm-hmm. So I have a perfect example. I had a couple that were friends of mine in Tennessee. They both pay $600 a month for insurance, and they see a naturopath that they pay out of pocket. Right. They're not even using that $1,200 a month. I'm like, this is crazy. What if you got to keep that money? What if you got to keep it? What if you had a membership that was $43? If you were worried about needing to talk to somebody, you could do a $99 a month, have access to all these. But we have what I like to call an adverse protection product, adverse incident. So you could say catastrophic, but it's an adverse incident protection. And it's for $50,000 and above, and it's only $56 a month. So the people that are worried about the what if, that are paying hundreds and hundreds every month, could literally get something for $99 and $56. And they're not even using their insurance every month anyway. 80% of the people don't use it every month. So how about you have something where you could make a call if you needed meds, those things are there. You have the what if taken care of. And then the collaboration that goes alongside that is the one that we have with Alpine Gold Exchange and United Precious Metals. Because people could take that money that they're not spending now, that they don't. I ask people, do you ever get your money back from the insurance company? Never give it to you back? No, they don't give it back. So how about you take your money and put it in something I like to call kingdom assets that actually will retain its value or improve its value, that you always have access to, that's your money. So we have what I call a gold savings account with Alpine Gold, Precious Metals, and you've seen the increase of gold and silver over the last couple of years. It's crazy. So people could actually be growing their money, saving it and growing their money. So then we have, and they even have gold backs. We send out a link to everybody to get a free account. There was a limited number and they got a free gold back. And the last time I looked at what $1 gold back was worth, it was $8. What is that? I don't like math. 8,000% increase. Is that what that is? $8 from $1. That's the kind of growth that Kingdom assets have. People could actually be saving their money when they put it into the UPMA account. And then we have other things like Storehouse Wellness. They reached out to us. We love what you're doing. Can we come alongside? It's a huge platform that has, it's a lifestyle platform and incorporates physical fitness, nutrition, mental wellness, and financial health. And it's $10 a month for our members. Now, you can go in that thing. There's videos, there's exercise for men, women, kids, family. There's nutrition information. There's coaching in there. There's actually Ramsey's Financial Peace. I went looking for recipes. I just started going down the platform for recipes, and I just went to gluten-free recipes. I think it was gluten-free. And there was over 100 recipes in one piece of this giant platform. Like, people have access to so much there. And then we also have, and I love this, we actually had them on the member spotlight just a little while back. We have the teledentist that have come alongside us. So our members can have access to the teledentist, which is only $8.50 a month. Now, there's a lot of people, they're sharing some of the stats. If you go into the ER because your tooth hurts and you need help, you know there's no dentists that work in the ER, right? There's no dentist in there. So you go in there and the average cost of going into the ER is going to be about $600. And they're not going to do anything for you because there's no dentist in there. So you could literally have 24/7 access for any issues, be able to call them. And if you have to see someone, they can find you the closest dentist that's open to you. There's also, which was important to me, they have a network of biologic dentists, which I was very happy about. And if they needed to prescribe something. So $850 a month, let's see, you'd have to, use that 10 years pay that for 10 years for one ER visit. Like, to me, these are all no-brainers. And it's all inexpensive because the whole goal, like in our mission, was to keep things affordable because we know things can be affordable. They don't need to have all these giant costs. And then we've got a bunch of practitioner programs in place for people. We have the medicinal ones. We're going to be talking about that. The April Godcast. I cannot stress enough to people what's going on with the spike protein and what's happening. It's not good. So we're going to have them on the Godcast in April. People need to come back to listen to that. And our practitioners have access to their program where they can not only be sharing with their clients, you can share with your clients the protocols, and it's actually financially beneficial for our providers. We put together programs that can actually help our providers make money as they're helping their clients. So we have that with medicinals, we have it with BioLight Technologies, we have it with Azure Well. Our program with Azure Standard is expanding. So we put things together to help providers like you. Everything we do is looking at how do we help people? How do we bring them affordable, new alternative to the system, healthcare? And then, but everybody brings something to the table. So we're always looking for providers to join us because we want to have people be able to go everywhere across the country and find somebody that's focused on healing and not harming. We've got the advocacy toolkit. This actually came into being during all of the stuff that we were dealing with the hospitals and what they were telling people. This seed got planted back then that we put together this advocacy toolkit so that people could use it if they have to deal with their current system, medical provider, or a hospital, so they can stand their ground for what they want. Now, I'm all about, I see a doctor, a hospital providing a service or a product. If I'm buying a service or a product, I'm going to get what I want, or I'm not going to pay you. Like, are you providing this service to me or this product? And is the value there? And are you giving me what I want? That's the product and the service. Well, that hasn't happened in the last 5 years with the hospitals, and we know that. So there's documents. There's now 18 documents in there because we started putting more in there for pure blood ministry, which is also part of Freedom Healthcare, because of the issues with the blood and what's going on and how people can handle directed donations, how we connect people, what paperwork do they need to do this. That's also in the kit. There's also a birth plan. There's things that there that people can use to actually help themselves and their family. And then the fun part, which, well, it's all fun, but I think about the part that's been growing the fastest is all of our education. And to me, that was phase 4. And to me, that was down the road. I thought it was down the road, but that's not what's happening. So God's bringing it along faster, which I'm assuming because we're going to need a lot more providers moving out of the system faster. We need a whole bunch of little Alfonsos out there. But here's our list just now and what our members get as discounts. So we have one of our first ones. So most people know Dr. Henry Ely and Energetic Health Institute. So there's 30% off discounts on all of their regular price online education. So people can learn about homeopathy, cellular healing. There's a ton of education that they keep adding to. So if somebody wants to start new or add to their education, that's there. We have Wellbeing by Design, 15% off the Aleph Tav body course. And I'll give you a second to talk about that because people need to understand how important ATB is and what it does for people.
Yeah, and I think we did a whole show on this, so you can go back and watch that. But Aleph Tav body is a energetic system of the body that's different than acupuncture. It's different than the meridians, and it lines up with the Hebrew. So there's actually a Hebrew control point on the body for every Hebrew letter. And with this system, you can activate these points and get energy moving in the body just by touching the body with your hands. It's all by polarity. So I kind of consider this one of the original laying on of hands. I mean, we've even, with the writings that came from Japan and other places, they traced it all back to the ancient Israelites and how it came through. So this seems to be an ancient system where they knew how to touch different control points on the body for healing. And I don't know how else to say it. It's not like acupuncture and other things. It just runs circles around things. Now, some of it with chronic conditions can be a little time consuming, but it can do things that nothing else can do. Emergency procedures are really, really fast, and they usually work more than symptom level. So we're talking like how to place your hands on a person's body to stop a heart attack, how to place your hands on a body to stop bleeding. We're not talking about pressure. We're talking about stopping bleeding and the wound healing back up without stitches. Extracting things out of bodies, anaphylactic shock, choking, seizures, you name it. There's a whole bunch of emergency applications that work extremely fast for stopping an emergency just with your hands. And then there's the chronic conditions. And so some people always ask me, what's the greatest thing you've ever seen? Well, the greatest thing I've ever seen was someone who had a severed spinal cord. Okay, severed spinal cord, they couldn't walk. The spinal cord came back together and they walked again. Now that was a lot of hands-on. We're talking about a couple years of work. But would you rather stay in bed for the rest of your life? Do you know anything else that's going to cause a severed spinal cord to come back together and heal?
Well, and that takes us back to the spiritual aspect.
And we're not even talking about, this isn't even divine healing. This is just naturally supernatural.
Exactly. And
if we get the divine part in and you're praying and he shows up, well, then who knows what might happen.
Right. And then laying on of hands, which is biblical.
Yep.
So all of these things, I love it. All of these things are tied in. We just brought on, this is our latest one. So we have the International Institute of Faith-Based Counseling and the
Yes.
Life Training Institute. So there's 15% off the accredited faith-based online education programs and 20% off online counseling through Compassion Christian Counseling. You can become a biblical naturopath.
I
This
highly
is a
recommend their school.
yeah, this is a big deal. And he has so much training and education. So I love as God brings these people in front of me and they come forward, there's pieces, everybody has a place where they fit. And this is amazing. We have Functional Nurse Academy, 10% discount off all self-paced functional medicine training. And then we have Christian Functional Medicine Academy, and it's 10% off board certified functional medicine training. So if somebody wanted to go into functional medicine. There's also a functional medicine education series, and it's 10% off the foundational healthcare. There's 3-day education series, and it offers in-depth training on foundational healthcare and population health medicine. So this continues to grow. The education continues to grow. And then we've got discounts. One of our collaborations is with Oasis of Hope Cancer Hospital in Mexico. They have an incredible track record of healing cancer spiritually and naturally. They're all about prayer and progressive protocols. I mean, we had Dr. Francisco on the Godcast I went on. That was amazing listening to what they're doing down there and them praying with people and the healing that's happening. And then we also have a 50% discount off the 6-month program at Cancer PEP. And that's actually this really amazing couple that's up in Canada that have really done a holistic program for cancer, and they're giving our members half off. So, I mean, there's so much that we have, and there's more coming. Like there's going to be a couple very cool things coming this year. One little.
Don't you have to be in health too?
Oh, I didn't put down being health. Oh my gosh. How did I miss that?
Is that more of a provider or education or both?
No, that's education. Thank you.
Okay.
So we have Be in Health, which I think crazy. I actually went through it almost 20 years ago. Didn't even realize the connection. It can be online. There's discounts. How did I miss that? Did I just go right past that one? Discounts for their online courses. They do an in-person conference every month down at their place in Thomaston, Georgia. That looks at the generational issues and how it affects our health. So even in the Bible where it says the sins of the father to the 3rd and 4th generation, there's things that happen in our family lines that affect us physically. And they have been doing this training for 30 years. They have healed thousands and thousands of people from every disease instantaneously when the spiritual piece is approached and taken care of. They're amazing.
Like spiritual roots.
It's all the spiritual roots of disease. And
it's not only generational. It could be anything.
It can be anything. And it was
judgments,
PTSD. You go on their website and you look at some of their testimonies. It's amazing what people have gone through and done. But it was Dr. Henry Wright wrote the book A More Excellent Way, I don't know, 20 some odd years ago, that big giant white book. And I actually just got off a call with Scott, who's the CEO, the other day, and we're going to be expanding the collaboration even more. So there's that spiritual piece that's missing from the current system. And everybody has a chance to learn these things. Everybody has a chance to heal themselves. And we want more providers and practitioners coming on, even if they haven't learned anything yet. Like we have enough education right now that people could go and get, and they get discounts on all of it that they're not going to get anywhere else. So you literally look at it. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of benefits here for a $43 a month membership, which is crazy. But the more practitioners we can bring on, the more we can help people across the country, whether they're virtual, whether they're in person. Everybody has something. But the other thing that's going to be pretty cool is, as we look at everything that's in the existing system, so we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We take whatever is good in the existing system, but then we bring in everything that's better based on what God wants to do. But one of the things that isn't anywhere in the quote system is where people actually have control of their own information. That they actually control it. No, the hospitals and the doctors have it. And you can ask for records. You can tell them you want all your records, but walking into one of the big systems, they're not gonna give you their stuff. They own you. Well, since we're stepping out, people need to be able to own their own information. And that's something that we're working on that will help not only providers like you have that interaction with your members and patients, there'll be things there to help actually promote people to take care of themselves. There shouldn't be doctor patient anymore. It should be teacher student, like what you're doing. It should be teacher student. You need to be taught how to take care of yourself, not run to the doctor anymore for an antibiotic or a drug. People need to take ownership of their own health, and they need help for those steps. What does it look like? So as we exit the beast system, we're providing the tools that will help them on this journey and providing the people to go to that we can get them there. So I look at, even with the little bridge of Kinetic Health and the health offering, it's like, all right, take that hundreds of dollars you're spending each month, spend 150 here, and now you have money that you're saving. Now you can go anywhere you want. Let's take you to someone that can show you how to heal spiritually, that can actually heal your body, that isn't going to be pushing pharmaceuticals, and finding the right person and that right teacher like you that's going to help them find that path to healing.
All right. Exciting. So before we end, we need to know, how do people get involved? How do they donate if they want to donate to the mission and the ministry? How do they get involved with Freedom Healthcare?
Yep, that's a good one. And especially everybody that will be watching this out there. So they can go to our website, which is freedom-healthcare.us. Again, freedom-healthcare.us. We have a donate button. Again, we are a nonprofit ministerial association. We run on donations. So, and people are always like, this is why we need more providers and more kingdom assets coming from God and the people. There's emails and people asking all the time, well, where's your hospital? Like, where's the private hospital? Is there a blood bank? Or, where's your clinic in this state, in this state? It's like, it doesn't happen until everybody comes together to help. The faster the donations, the faster we can do these things, but everybody needs to get involved. So a provider can go to the Contact Us page on our website. So freedom-healthcare.us, go to Contact Us. There, click the box, I want to get involved. How do I become a member? Membership is super simple. All they do is click the membership button, become a member. That starts the process. There's a member-only portal they get to get into and see all of the discounts and access to everything they have that's hidden, that you don't see on the actual website, the front-facing website themselves. And then tell their family and friends, like, there's a way out of this. There's a way out, and we're leading God's way. God's telling us the direction he wants us to go. And it's not like anything out there, thank goodness, because we want him healing people, and we want him to lead us in the direction he wants us to go. So people become a member. There's a donate button. They can donate. They can do reoccurring donations if they'd like. And then send providers that you know that are sick of the system and want out, send them our way. Um, it's building. It's building, and there's more coming. So it's really fun to see who God brings and what He's doing. It's
Yes.
it's pretty cool.
All right, folks, you heard it. That is Freedom Healthcare and what's going on. I know that there's a lot on the website now, more than when we first got involved.
I know,
It
and
is
it just
loaded with stuff.
keeps. I need to have somebody go in and organize it a little better because we just keep adding because vendors keep coming along and wanting to get involved and more stuff happens. We've got the education, the providers, all the things that are in there.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
But that's where we're at. So thanks for we kind of chatted about this. I'm like, you know what? We've never really talked about uh Freedom Healthcare. I don't know what happened here. Hold on. Anyway, um, there we go. And we never really talked about it. It's like, well, that might be kind of fun. We could chat about what we've done because there's been so much growth in the last few years that I think it helps people. I mean, they can always go to the website and poke around, but I think it's really important that people understand the heart behind it and why we did this and what the backstory is, because this wasn't random. This was never anything I would ever have expected to do.
Mm-hmm.
Not on my plate, not in my vision, not what I was doing. So it's a blessing that God has brought this forth, and I just continue to be obedient to what He tells me to do because He's building something here, and we're all a part of it. And we're all just working together. We're all His hands and feet. We all have a piece of the puzzle. So I'm just really grateful for everybody that has come alongside, the ones that bring information, that bring new technology, that want to expand partnerships. Um, it's really fun to see where it's going.
I think this is going to be a great introduction video too, because there's a lot of people like, oh, Freedom Healthcare, what is that? What are the benefits? Well, now here's a great video to send to people, and it
That's
kind
right.
of explains a lot of what they get and why they would want to be involved. So this is great.
Yeah, we've got the story. There is a story. I only have one story. So I just tell the story because it's like, this is how we got here. It was very specific. All right. Well, thanks for being the interviewer today.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate it. And everybody that's listening, please make sure you are on our email list. Those of you that are watching from Rumble and YouTube, go to freedom-healthcare.us to the contact us, sign up, because you are going to want to be on the April 24th Godcast. There's a lot going on in the realm of the spike protein, the damage to the immune systems, and it's not good. So we need to get information out there to people and how they can heal. And we're going to have some of the global research team that's been at this for 6 years that has a proven protocol that's all natural, and it's working. And we've got to help people. So make sure you are on the email list. Go to the contact us page, and then you'll get your invite for the April Godcast. But we have all sorts of fun people that come on the Godcast. So everybody's important. And go back and watch the other ones because we've had some pretty cool ones.
We have.
Good stuff. All right, everybody, have a wonderful evening, and thanks for joining us. Thanks, Alfonso.
You're welcome. Shalom,
Bye.
everyone.